Hello and good evening, and welcome to the shed. Hashtag Irish Bulls Mafia with me, Trevor. I'm doing a Friday video for a change this week. I just wanted to let the draft settle a bit and have a think about it and see how it went and listen to people's thoughts before I do a video. So right now I said I'd just let people know what I think and how I think we did and what moves we have done and are they good or are they not. And what moves happened in the NFL, which was some fascinating moves, some predictable, some not, and how they'll affect teams going forward as well. So for ourselves, I'm going to start with the Bills draft, and then I'll talk about the rest of the NFL afterwards. So we had picked 28 in the draft, and a lot of people thought we'd trade up for a wide receiver, or we'd stay there and get a wide receiver when one came along, or we could have traded down. But nobody expected us to trade down to the Kansas City Chiefs and give them our pick, which they took Xavier Worthy. Now, I've heard a lot of criticism for Brandon Bean on this and for the Bills giving the Chiefs the pick. But I don't agree with that criticism. The reason for it is if we had picked 28, if we wanted Xavier Worthy, and he is a very fast runner and might be tear up the NFL, who knows? But if we wanted him, we could have had him. We didn't want him. It was obvious we didn't want him. When Brandon Bean traded, he didn't know who the Kansas City Chiefs were going to choose. He just traded the pick to get the best deal he could. And we did not want Xavier Worthy. Now, personally, there's nothing wrong with Xavier Worthy. I hope he has a wonderful career, and if he stays fit, he has all the capabilities of having that. But I didn't want him coming to the Buffalo Bills. We seen last year where size matters, and catching the ball and holding on to the ball is what matters. And for me, trading with the Chiefs, I don't fear the Chiefs. Yes, they're the team we have to beat. Yes, they're the Super Bowl champions, but I've never feared them as a Buffalo Bills fan. We are as good as them. We just haven't turned up or taken that step on the day when we've had the chance. Last year, or the season gone, I should say, it was more down to us not having fit players than it was down to us not doing what we were supposed to do. And it was also down to our wide receivers at the time not catching balls they should have caught. And you can polish it up or do whatever you want with it, but they're the facts. Our defense was decimated with injuries, and our big wide receivers did not catch balls they should have caught. And if they did, I think we would be the ones looking as Super Bowl champions, and the Kansas City Chiefs would be saying, what have we to do to catch the Bills? But these are ifs and buts that didn't happen, so we have to improve and get on for this year. So trading to Xavier Worthy was not an issue for me. Good luck to him at the Chiefs. I hope he has a successful career. Then we were at the 32nd pick. Then we traded 32nd pick to the Carolina Panthers for the 33rd pick. Now, we also got lowered up, improved our picks down the board as well with the Kansas City Chiefs, and we also did with the Carolina Panthers. And again, I have no issue with that either, because if you weren't going to pick your guy at 32, like if you had two guys, Xavier Legette went to the Panthers at 32. Well, I presume that they weren't looking at him either. So, and if they were, they still had the guy we picked as 33. So it doesn't matter. You got the guy you wanted, and the type of guy you wanted as well. So we got an improved picks again in the lower rounds by trading to the Panthers and only moving down one spot. So again, I agree with Brandon Bean. I have no issues with that pick either. It doesn't matter where we land on the board. You could have had number 1 pick or number 32 or 33 pick or whatever. These guys, you will not know how good they are until 2 or 3 years' time. So we'll know then if they were brilliant moves or if there were moves we shouldn't have done or blah, 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 blah. But right now, if you look at it the way it was done, I have no issue with that. So who do we pick in 33? We picked Coleman from wide receiver from Florida State. This guy has only had a handful of drops in his college career. He was at Michigan State first, and then he played basketball and football, and then he moved to Florida State. He is a big man. It's Josh Allen's choice of wide receiver. He was the guy, he texted him. He said, I was the guy, you were the guy I wanted. And if Josh Allen wants this guy, I want this guy. He has a personality that I already adore. He is media friendly. He is an ordinary kind of lad, not afraid to just be normal. He doesn't have to be cool or act cool or anything like that. And looking at his stats for a wide receiver, he has very, very few drops. And that's something that our wide receiver core needs to have this year. If Josh Allen is throwing you that ball 99% of the time, or 95% of the time minimum, you have to be catching it and holding it. And he is a guy that fits that bill. He's tall, he's athletic, he's strong. And he's a guy that I would have no issues starting the season as in our wide receiver core. And hopefully that's the way it'll go. Then we moved into pick 2, which was Cole Bishop, safety from Utah. He was pick number 60 in round 2. And again, listening to podcasts and stuff like that about him and reading a bit about him, he is a guy that's very, very good at what he does. And he has a lot of interceptions and had a lot of pressures put on and breakages of balls and stuff when it's put in his area. So he's a guy that, again, looks to fit in to what we need. We need safeties, and we need them to be ready to go when it's time to go. Pick number 3 was round 3 in number 95 was Dwayne Carter, defensive tackle from Duke. Again, another guy that has a very good pedigree behind him, very good numbers behind him, and is a guy in an area that we need competition for, and for him, if he can get in there to compete and win that spot. Pick number 4 was number 128, was Ray Davis, running back, Kentucky. Again, listening to Joe Marino, this guy isn't the biggest man in the world. I think he's 5'8", but he's a guy that can see the gaps and changes runs very quick if he has to. And I think he'll be a good complement with James Cook. And if we are going to use him in that kind of a way, that if James Cook does the first run or two and maybe he comes in and takes the third down or something like that, if it's needed. He's also supposed to be a very good receiver of the ball, so when the ball is thrown to him, he doesn't again have many drops. So that's something that, again, James Cook had a couple of bad drops last year, and hopefully they'll work on that in the off season. That was the only flaw for me in his game, was there was a couple of passes in different games where there were simple balls he should have caught and he didn't. But other than that, James Cook had an immaculate season, and this guy, A, will put competition and pressure on him to compete and do it, and B, he can also do it by what he's done in college. Pick number 5 then was 141, Cedric Van Pran Goranger. He's a centre from Georgia Bulldogs. Again, I think if McGovern is having an issue as centre, this is a man that could come in and fill for him, and McGovern could go back out to his position where he was playing last year. If not, he can learn from McGovern and learn from the system and be there to fill in if when needed. Pick number 6 was number 60, was in round 5, and excuse me for this name, I'll do my best. Edefuan Olufuisho, linebacker from Washington. Again, Washington had a super season last year. This is a guy that, in an area where we need to build, and Sean McDermott is a guy between safety and linebackers. He produces them and he can turn them into gold, and hopefully this is one of those guys. Number 7 was pick 168, was Javon Solomon, defensive edge, Troy. We need edge. I thought we were going to go for I've had a blank. Chop Robinson or someone like that. Excuse me now for that split second. But he left it to the later rounds, and he's a guy that has again, all these guys have good pedigrees. There's pieces I have to learn about them, but just listening to different podcasts and stuff, he is a guy that could come in and put a bit of pressure on the likes of Von Miller, to lift his game. If not, he can fill in. Pick number 8 was number 204, was in round 6, was Tylen Grable, offensive tackle, UCF. Again, he is a guy that I think will be more in the background, but if the chances come that he can get in there, well, by all means, in we go. Pick number 9 was number 219, was Dequan Hartley, cornerback, Penn State. And as I said about the safety and the cornerback, these are positions we need to strengthen in. And again, he comes from a good college and he has a good pedigree behind him, and hopefully he'll fit in there and Sean McDermott can work his miracles. And pick number 10 was number 221, was in round 7, was Travis Clayton, offensive tackle, and he came through the international pathway from England, and fair play to him and good luck to him. It's good to see that the Bills have picked an international player. I think all teams are going to do that, but they have it done. And offensive tackle again, he's a guy that can, like Tylen Grable, put pressure on these guys ahead of him, and if they get the chance, fill in. If not, learn from them, and when their chance comes, to fill in. Also, we picked up in free agency wide receiver Quintez Cephas. He has 4 years experience in the NFL with the Detroit Lions. He's 6'1", 202 pounds. I don't know, will he be staying? Like, you have Curtis Samuel there, you have Kahil Shakir, and you have Keon Coleman now. So they will be my 3 guys I will be looking at to build the wide receiver around. I know you need backup, and we have that, but we'll bring him in and welcome him, and if I can work good and well. We also today picked up Chase Claypool, wide receiver. He was a free agent from the Dolphins, but he also spent some time with the Bears, and he's more from being at the Steelers. I don't know. Welcome to the Bills, by all means, the 2 guys I've mentioned so far, and I'll support you all I can. I just don't think he's there for the long term. Maybe he will ignite his career and it will move on, and he will do magical things for us, but like, he got out of the Steelers to go to the Bears, and he didn't last long at the Bears. He went to the Dolphins, and lo and behold, we have him. But he'll be competition, and time will tell what he is. We also signed linebacker Deion Jones from the Carolina Panthers. Well, that's where he was last year, free agent. And defensive edge Dion Smoot from free agent, but from the Jacksonville Jaguars. And there are all our new additions at the minute. So welcome one and all to the Bills, and I wish you all the best luck. And Chase Claypool and Quintez Cephas, please prove me wrong, but you're welcome, and I will support you. You're a Bills player, but I just think myself that this is more gap fillers, and see what happens rather than we want you to happen. So that's my thoughts on the draft. Now, just on a few other things from the draft. Well, the number 1 pick was Caleb Williams, went to the Chicago Bears. And I liked this interview. I liked, whether I think he was the number 1 pick or not, it was irrelevant. How he acted when he was number 1 pick was impressive. He wants to win. He wants to win now. He wants to be a leader for the team. He wants to be there for their families. He wants to be there for the players. He wants to be there for the people of Chicago. And they're all the things you want to hear from a guy who's just been the number 1 pick or any pick. And I like that. Like the way Keon Coleman came in and did the presser or the press conference, his first one at the Buffalo Bills, you just fell in love with him. You could not like him. He's an ordinary guy with a super talent, and I hope he stays that way, because that's where he'll have his most success, is being himself, ordinary, but showing the world his talent and being hungry to show that. And Caleb Williams, in fairness, I thought came across very, very well. And I wish the Chicago Bears all the luck. They also got in the number 9th pick, Rome Aduze, a wide receiver. Now, these two guys, it'll take time, but when they click, they will be a force. But there was nothing too surprising about that. Then JJ McCarthy went to the Minnesota Vikings. Again, that was kind of predicted beforehand. For me, JJ McCarthy was the number 1 pick. And I'm learning this. But for me, he's a winner. He knows how to win. And he got the Michigan Wolverines to the championship game last year and won the game, where Caleb Williams did have a good previous year, but last year gone, his team and himself did not hit the heights. Now, I hope he hits the heights. I don't wish any player any ill or anything bad, but for me, he has to prove himself more as the quarterback of the Bears in the first year than JJ McCarthy has as the quarterback of the Vikings. Then the biggest surprise of all, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, is you're the Atlanta Falcons. You have pick 8. You need an edge. You need a lot of things, but you need an edge. You're building a team. You've just given a guy $100 million guaranteed in 3 years as your quarterback in Kirk Cousins. And you go, and your first pick isn't an edge, but is Michael Penix Jr. quarterback. I didn't see that coming anyway whatsoever. Above all the teams that needed a quarterback, they weren't one. Now, for me, if I was looking at it, I would be saying, well, he could be cover in case Kirk Cousins re-injures himself or hurts himself or whatever. And that's all good and well. But, and here's my but, why pay Kirk Cousins $100 million guaranteed if you know there's a chance that injury could reoccur? You could have paid him an awful lot less, and it would have eased the blow of bringing in a Michael Penix Jr. Kirk Cousins knew nothing about this or his team. Now, he's been taken aback. Now, I know Kirk, from watching him, is a kind of laid-back guy and doesn't, make dramas out of stuff. But if, he was revved up, he was ready to go, he was going leading the Falcons this year, they had a nice-looking unit, things were looking rosy, the draft is coming, they were going to get their players, and the Falcons picked Michael Penix Jr. Now, their reason for it is, we don't expect to be this low in the draft again. In 2 or 3 years' time, we might be looking for a quarterback, and Michael Penix Jr. is there now, and we want him to shadow Kirk Cousins. You've seen how that worked with Aaron Rodgers. It didn't. Okay, it's a good idea. It didn't. Now, Jordan Love has thrived, and good luck to Jordan Love, but you've seen what I did to Aaron Rodgers. Now, I know Kirk Cousins isn't Aaron Rodgers, but it can affect Kirk Cousins, and maybe he would have been more relaxed playing games, knowing I am the number 1 guy, I am the main man here, to now he is, oh my God, there's a young man there behind me looking to get in and take my place. He's going to get rich off it, all right, but, it's not, I don't think Kirk is there for the money now. I think he's made enough money over the years that he's there to win something, and it'll be interesting to see how it goes. When they're winning, there'll be no problem. Is if they hit a patch where things will get a bit rough, or they lose a couple of games and Kirk doesn't have good, they can lose games for different reasons, but if Kirk hasn't a good game or two, then if the questions come from the fans, we want Michael Penix, that's where the pressure and trouble kicks in. So it'll be interesting to see. But, it was something to talk about, it was something way, way, way left field. The picks up to there were pretty straightforward and pretty predictable, but this one just blew the lid of the can. But anyway, it was something to talk about and something to discuss here today. And I wish the Atlanta Falcons all the best in 2024 and so on, and Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix Jr. I know he's a very good quarterback, but if I was Michael Penix Jr. too, you look at JJ McCarthy, he's gone in. Minnesota Vikings, he's starting. You look at Caleb Williams, he's going into the Chicago Bears, he's starting. You look at Bo Nix, who went to the Denver Broncos. I think he's going to be starting too. So, uh, Jaden Daniels at the Commanders. He's going to be starting. Drake May at the Patriots. Jacoby Brissett is there, maybe not. But at the minute, Drake May, sorry, could be starting. But Michael Penix Jr., unless Kirk Cousins is injured, won't be starting. And that's the thing. And he's going to have to sit back there. Now, he might enjoy himself for 2 or 3 years and say, I'll wait. But like it's 2 or 3 years, you could be starting somewhere else. And in that stage, by year 3, you've already made your team and you know what's ahead of you. Whereas when this guy kicks in, he might take a year or two to adjust. And then that's 5 years gone when he should be where he is at, definitely by year 3 anyway. But we'll see. So that's my video for tonight, or for this evening, folks. So I want to thank you very much for watching. I'm hoping to have a special guest edition next week. I won't mention the guest yet until we confirm it. And I'll have a video either Tuesday or Thursday, depending on when the special guest episode is on. And if there's any news to be updated or anything happening, I think next week is they're releasing the schedule, so it'll be interesting to see what games are coming up and when they're coming up. But the next few weeks might be pretty quiet, so my videos will be, I'll definitely do one a week, but they mightn't be too long unless we have information or something else might happen at some other team and I'll discuss it. But other than that, we'll bang along and tick along. So to you all, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And if you get a chance and you like this, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment, or you can contact me on Twitter or X at Bills_Irish, or on Instagram, Spotify, on YouTube is at the Irish Bills Mafia. And until Tuesday night next week, as always, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, my friends, and always go Bills.